And let me share my screen. Can everyone see my screen? Can someone please respond back?
Yes.
Okay. So, I'm sorry. So first of all, I know some of you don't have your camera on. As I said, the school gives you that option. But for me, it's really, really weird. It is not normal to have a classroom and students hide their face. Imagine if I'm teaching in the classroom and everyone has a paper bag over their face, or the option to put a paper bag over their face. So I can't really see responses very well and facial expression if someone gets it or not. When you have a base group meet too, imagine in real life you have to collaborate for a lab, and everyone's once again have the option to mute their microphone or not talk at all. So just it's really awkward, and I don't think it's normal. I honestly don't think it's normal to have this kind of expectation for society. I know I run college classes, and most of the time, or almost all of the time, people only turn off their camera if they need to go blow their nose or if they have a family member walk into the room and talk. So that's just my little personal pet peeve. As I said, I can't make you do it, but it's not normal in my opinion. Okay, but that's just my opinion. So if you guys could have your camera on, even if you don't point it to your face and you point it to the side of the room, at least I know you actively and I can just see your hand move or something like that. It seems a lot more appropriate. Okay. So you don't feel well today, as I said, that's fine, Sophia. I can understand that. But when like 80% of the class don't choose to have the camera on, as a teacher and as a human being, I can't read facial cue. So point it to the side of the room, just wave once in a while. I know you exist. Otherwise, I'm talking to a screen and it makes me feel like I'm a little weird of myself and not being normal, which is okay. But as I said, normal in this case means appropriate. So please, if you could, have that camera on. Okay. Let me go back to my presentation. So, expectation wise, as I said, if you could, please participate. Imagine if I'm talking to my dog and all my dog does is go hide behind the couch and lay there.
Hi, Lucas. Say hi to everyone.
Okay, so there's Lucas. But you see, even Lucas knows that when someone is talking to Lucas, or him in this case, he should look at that person. So that's just my pet peeve. And next is when you have the base group, please participate. Okay. So let me go back. Forward. Sorry. Yeah, things are being a little funky for me this morning. It's lagging because I'm doing the screen recording. Let me pause. Figuring out a way to solve a problem, whether it's how to cure a disease, how to fix a car, in my case, how to go fishing, or how to beat a boss in a video game, or how to find time, if I can try to find a way to save time. So the scientific method is simply a way of solving problem. And the first step is observation. For me, observation sounds like, it's a technical thing. It's not. It's just being aware of things. People, when you're aware of things, you have more chances to get an opportunity that you might miss. And in life, I often say to people, there's two things that matter is do you make choices to prepare yourself and are you given opportunity? Those two things, if they come together, you have what we call success or a chance to grow. I have seen people in other countries who are very, very poor, who study hard and work hard, but they're not given opportunity to grow. So the best they can do is a low middle class income. And then I see people who are given many opportunities in America who waste it by choosing not to be active. And once again, they blame it on things and they call it generation of poverty and things and stuff like that. So, but if you have those two given together, you prepare, an opportunity comes and you are aware of it, you choose it, you are able to be successful. So, observation simply means just being aware of things. Okay? So, what do I mean by be like Sherlock Holmes? He's famous for the fact that he makes very accurate, close to the truth, and detailed observation. For those of you who study history, alright, or might see this in your history class, does anyone know what this picture on the left means at all? Or have ever seen this picture on the left? Can someone unmute their microphone since I don't want to go back and forth to the chat so much? Anyone ever seen this picture on the left right here? You will see it in your history class for sure as an American. Anyone? So this picture on the left represents an event in the Vietnam War when American soldier under the command of a young lieutenant from a southern state opened fire and killed over, based on the US document, 340 women, children, men of all ages. Unofficially, the number was closer to 500. And people, not being aware, blindly choose to be in a mob mentality, follow that, and did that. Even though the reporter, this is from the Time magazine, was standing there taking pictures and saying, these people, especially that little girl and that little boy right there, do not look like your enemy. Okay? After about several minutes of carrying out burning and shooting, a helicopter from the US Army came by, and this other officer said, stop, you guys are totally missing the village you're supposed to check out. And what I'm seeing is not people fighting against other soldier, it is a massacre. And he himself begged and pleaded to the soldier on the ground to stop and the commanding officer to follow his information and direction. At the end, he was active enough to say, if you guys don't stop, I will have my own crew open fire on you guys because you're murdering innocent people. Not only was some of these soldiers saw opportunity to choose to be bad, if you see this young lady unbuttoning her shirt here, if you read in between the line, and the fact that this mother is standing before her teenage daughter shows you that some of the US soldier in this case did not behave like proper people. But this gentleman here chose to step up and behave like a gentleman and a person who is honorable and just. So that's an example of observation being used not just in science, but by being aware that those people were at the wrong coordinate, they're not even checking out the right village. So this incident is called the My Lai incident. It's in the Time magazine for that year, and that was one of the action that helps to change the war. Just a little fun fact for you, the guy who opened fire or ordered a soldier to open fire, he barely got a slap on the hand afterward. So in science, there's two kind of observation. There's qualitative. If you guys look at the root of it, qualitative has the word quality kind of matching it. Quantitative has the word quantity in it. So qualitative, a thing that you can just observe with your senses, shape, color, textures, things like that. And quantitative, you can also observe with your senses, but sometimes you need tools like length, mass, density, weight. Okay. So I went fishing about a week ago, and I was walking along the shore of the Cannon River, and before I started fishing, I wanted to go and observe the scenery a little bit. I noticed the current is flowing in the direction of the blue arrow, and here there's a bunch of minnow about 2 inch or an inch and a half long. That's my observation. So I asked myself a scientific question, which is a question based on nature or physical fact. And nature, I often know that, do these minnow look appealing to a fish that is like a walleye or a bass to a predator? So I make a hypothesis afterward. If you guys have time later, I would encourage you to go to this TED Talk and watch how the writer, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who is a wonderful writer, wrote Sherlock Holmes. He's actually a medical school student, and his experience as a science person help him become a better author. And the person who was the professor who taught him had wonderful observation skill and human skill of interacting with his patient with kindness and building connection with them. And that person is the inspiration for Sherlock Holmes. Okay, let me just wrap up my main lecture for today in about a minute, and we're done. So, what is a hypothesis? A hypothesis is a possible explanation for something. I call it a prediction with a reason. Most people will tell you it's an educated guess. Educated means it's based on something. If I were to predict some of you winning the Oscar in about 10 years, that might be true, but that's not an educated guess. I know nothing about you and your acting ability to do that. But if I were to predict that if most of you make wise choices and choose to be active in life and be aware in life, the world will be a better place. That would probably going to be more reasonable as a hypothesis for a social science class. Okay? So a hypothesis in my case is if I were to use bait similar to the shape and color of the minnow because the water is somewhat clear and move it in a similar motion, I might get a fish to bite. So here you guys can see that little square corner on that grass and the arrow I presented earlier in the same spot. I tossed out this bait several times. I didn't get it to bite, and I started moving it a little faster, like a minnow running away. And about 2 or 3 casts later, I was able to get this small walleye to react to this bait. And so my hypothesis happened to be correct in this case. Now, please know, hypothesis can be true, it can be wrong, it can be partially correct, and that is perfectly fine because it's a prediction. So never change your hypothesis if you're asked to write one for a lab, even if it's wrong. Most important for today is when you take any reading that's a quantitative measurement, please read it to the number that you can see for sure and then estimate one more digit. Okay, please estimate one more additional digit. So if it's between 15 and 16 and it's closer to 15, read it as 15.2, 15.3. Doesn't matter. Go with your best judgment. But you always read what you know for sure and one more estimate. Last but not least, whenever you take any measurement, please include a unit. For people who tell me unit does not matter, I will tell you this. Give me $100 and I'll give you back 100 penny. The unit of money matters. If you think it doesn't matter, give me $100, I'll give you back 100 penny. Or give me $100 and I'll give you back 100 peso. Does that make sense? Unit is everything. And if you're buying something and you expect 2 kilograms of it, and they send you 2 pounds, that's completely different because 1 kilogram is over 2 pounds. You're not getting what you expect. So without unit, the world will have business trouble as well as physical difficulty as best as you can. And put the answer in the chat. Is it A, B, or C, or D? So go ahead and take 30 seconds to read that graduate cylinder and put the answer in the chat. And the correct answer is B because this is 20, 30, there's 10 line, that means this is 25. So D is completely out. And that's a way of taking tests also. If one answer is completely off from the rest, it's usually wrong. Or it might be the one that's right. So always either eliminate it right away or choose it. So once again, the correct answer is B because I told you to read for sure. You know it's above 25 and it's below 26. So that one can be eliminated because there's no one factor estimation. C is BS. If someone can read this as 25.71, I tell them they're either very, very good or they're going above and beyond in a way that they shouldn't. Okay, that's not very accurate because accurate is close to the truth. So the correct answer is B.